2017 City Commissioner race. Learn more right after this.
Welcome to Community Watch. Greg, how are you?
Well, we're here.
We are in the middle of interviewing candidates for City Commission Ward 2.
I like election time.
I know, you get kind of excited.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So we've got a group of questions for our candidates, and we are asking our candidates the same group of questions so people can compare answers when they see the shows. We'll be interviewing over a period of several shows. We'll be talking to our candidates.
A lot of them. Counting off the elections.
There are, and I hope people are planning to vote. Yeah. So our first candidate in this segment is Jamie Doss, incumbent. So we're going to welcome him. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Greg.
Well, let's get right into it. Can you define the responsibilities of a Rome City Commissioner?
A Rome City Commissioner has a lot of responsibilities. One is to the citizens, of course, because the City of Rome is a big business, and we want to make sure we're open for business and that we run a good business. It requires leadership, stewardship, and hard work.
Okay.
All right. Name one accomplishment that you are most proud of, any idea or change that you have achieved since taking office.
Well, this year we have a new committee, Business Improvement Committee. It's chaired by Commissioner Bill Ermshire, and we're trying to improve business in Rome, and we want to make sure if you come to Rome that you have a good experience, and so we know we can do better in that department.
All right, a recent U.S. Census placed African American and Hispanic residents of Rome at over 40% of the population. Do the city boards and committees reflect these numbers? How can the city do a better job at placing more minorities on its boards and commissions?
Well, if you look at the Rome City Commission, we're a diverse commission. We have different races, men and women. And so I think it's important that we trust the voters, and definitely we want to make sure we give minorities an opportunity on all levels.
All right. The current SPLOST proposal includes an $8 million ag center. Do you support this project, not knowing its operational budget? And will you include maintenance of the facility within your operational budget, or will you support a future SPLOST to provide renovation and maintenance?
Well, the Ag Center is the signature project on the referendum. So we do need more information. It will be a county-funded project, but remember, every Rome citizen is a county resident. So it will be like, for instance, the Rome Tennis Center at Berry College is a city-funded project. And so the Ag Center will be a county project. I really hope that they take some time to plan and put some seed money. I'd like to know the location. They say it will make money, but hopefully at least break even. Thank you.
Appraisers are saying that property values are down in some Rome neighborhoods because of the high percentage of rental properties, and they are recommending not to make home improvements. Can anything be done to support homeowners in the city?
Well, our Community Development Committee offers grants and opportunities for those folks that are struggling. We do have some, the Laurel Street project coming available in South Rome, and we think it's going to be a great addition to the momentum in South Rome. So yes, people are struggling. I would tell them to contact our Community Development Office, Becky Fox, and see what we can do to help.
Okay. While Rome's Main Street, which is Broad Street, has been on several best lists, Rome has also been named among the most dangerous cities in Georgia. What can be done to change this?
Well, public safety is an issue all over the country. I would question their information because I think Rome's got a great police department. We're a little short-handed right now. We've got about 100 officers here in Rome, or 100 in the department. Broad Street is vibrant, but I think Rome's a great place, and I would argue that we're a safe city.
Over the past several years, the Rome Florida Recycling Center has stopped accepting some kind of plastic, glass, and other materials. Why are we seeing these limitations when our Bartow County neighbors continue to accept glass?
Well, recyclables at one time was a moneymaker. Now that's not the case. And so in an effort to try to not lose a lot of money, we've had to cut back on a recycling center. Quite frankly, a lot of people don't recycle very well. And I know some citizens, they virtually have no trash at the end of the week. That's not the case at my house, but they're working hard to try to bring back recycling in Rome. And so, you know, we're relocating the center. We've got new partners. So we're making some changes. I think we're moving in the right direction.
All right. Please explain the benefit of entering into a contract with Paper Recovery to handle the city's recycling materials. How much will this contract cost the city of Rome each year?
I can't answer that question, but I do know that we entered a contract with a business that is in the recycling business. Local government is not the number one recycler, and so I think it's too soon to tell. I think we need to give Recovery a chance to show what they can do. If we're not making headway, we can always move back in the other direction.
Are you satisfied with the city transit system? Would you support a bus line going to George Highland campus to assist Rome students who have transportation needs?
I certainly would support it. We have a unique situation here in Rome. For a city our size, to have a transit system is remarkable. And so we double it as a tripper system for our Rome City school system. And we don't have buses going every 30 minutes. I think the time is an hour every hour. But if the numbers can justify the service, I think it could happen.
All right. Do you believe that the city of Rome is doing enough to protect its historic buildings and areas on the National Register and within the designated historic districts of the city?
That's a good question, and certainly there's been some controversy lately. I think the city was a little ambitious when we set up our historic districts. To give you an example, Central Plaza is in the historic district. I'm not sure it should be in the historic district. On the other hand, Broad Street is a shining example of how it can work. And so we hate to see people walk away from a home, and we call it demolition by neglect. But until it becomes a public safety hazard, there's little that we can do to enforce.
Do you feel that a substantial number of low-income or minority Romans have a lack of trust for local government? If so, what might be done to help solve this problem?
Well, I hope not, Greg. I think it's important that local government reaches out to the public, and not just low income, but the entire public. And so all our meetings are open to the public. Our committee meetings, they're all open to the public. We have lots of committees. Rome works by the committee system. And so I think we really do pretty good. There are 9 commissioners. I think all the commissioners are easy to reach and want to help.
All right. How would you suggest increasing the participation of young people in the process of local government, and also encouraging them to vote?
Well, this year the city brought back the If I Were Mayor essay contest, and we're going to 6th grade throughout the Rome City School System. There's an invitation to every class to participate. The winners of the contest from each school come to City Hall, and we recognize them. But it's just amazing how many different ideas are out there. And so that's a new program we started this year, and it's involving a lot of young people. And I encourage the city to keep using it regardless if we have a new mayor or not.
Speaking of mayor, should Rome's mayor be elected by the citizens of Rome rather than selected by the commissioners?
Absolutely not. The Rome city government is a very efficient type of government. It's a city manager form of government where the city commission hires a professional to oversee the city of Rome business and government. And so we're a model throughout the state of Georgia, and it's a good one. And so as Rome mayor, I support the current system.
All right. If elected, would you be willing to have town hall meetings with citizens in the area you represent in order to discuss upcoming controversial issues? And are there other ways that you plan to communicate with your constituents?
I feel like I'm available. People come see me every day. And sometimes they don't even realize I'm a city commissioner. They have county problems. They come see me. I think we can always work on how we're open to the public, and I would encourage anyone to just call us, come to a meeting. We would like to hear from you, but I think we do a good job. I really do.
All right. Well, that concludes our time for this segment. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for doing this, and I would tell your audience I appreciate their past support, and I look forward to serving.
It's Jamie Doss, and we will be back with another candidate right after this, so please stay with us.
My college offers classes that meet my educational and career goals,
with opportunities outside the classroom,
where the faculty know me by name.
My college can prepare me for my career.
I can earn an associate's degree and transfer credits toward my bachelor's.
My college is a state college within the university system of Georgia.
My college is affordable.
It's close to home.
My college has online opportunities.
It's where excellence begins.
We are
GHC, Georgia Highlands College.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We are doing a series of programs where we're interviewing candidates for Rome City Commission Ward 2. One of the candidates, I guess we should go ahead and say, Sue Lee, was unable to come. I think she hurt her foot. She's not maneuvering well, so we wish her a good recovery. The system where there are 3 seats in the ward is an interesting one because there are 6 candidates. If there is a single candidate that you feel very passionate about and you want to help that one person, you would help them most by just voting for that person only. If there are 2 people that you feel good about, then you would help those 2 most by voting for just 2. But you're able to vote for 3. And I guess if you feel good about 3, then you certainly should. But it's the kind of election where there's some strategy involved in the voting, especially if you're someone who doesn't have strong feelings for 3 to vote for.
Well, I guess my not question, but when I think about it, is that by being elected citywide, it does kind of force you to have, ideally, you want to be connected to the whole city because you need support from every one of them. But I'm thinking, I don't know this to be a fact, but there are some areas like Ward 2 where you could have a strong presence and you are heavily voted for by the residents of Ward 2, but you could still lose because of the voted, just the other parts of the city which are bigger and have more numbers. And so it really kind of, it's just one of those things, I guess if you're elected citywide with a fair representation of numbers in all areas, that's good. But I would just hate to think of someone living in a particular ward and majority of that ward voting for them, but then they lose because other people in the city.
Except one person from that ward is going to win.
Yeah.
And all 6 of the candidates have to live in that ward. So somebody
is going to win
from that ward is going to win. Now, I'm not sure.
But you may not get support from your ward. You may be elected by people
I might be elected by people outside.
That's not from your ward.
Right. But I mean, these 6 candidates have to live in that ward, but we'd have to look at the maps to see exactly geographically what the ward is, because I know there are communities, South Rome is where I live, so I know the South Rome area, the community, is really quite small. And so it would have a smaller population, fewer voters. And my question would be, does a small area of town like that get an equal voice? Even in a ward. I mean, I don't know how big the ward is. It's just questions about, because you want everyone to have representation.
Well, that feeds into that whole thing. Why should I even vote? My vote doesn't count because it could be tricky. If a ward heavily votes for a person, but that person still loses because they are heavily elected by somebody outside of that ward.
Right.
Makes you, it kind of feeds into that narrative.
But we both know that this is the kind of election you especially need to vote for.
Yeah.
Because whoever wins, this commission is going to affect you as a resident, as a Rome resident, more directly than a state election or a national election in a lot of ways.
We probably need to do a show on that, the psychology of that. Why is it that people get so excited about national elections, but yet traditionally local elections have smaller turnouts?
Yeah.
When those elections affect people daily,
right.
I mean, we're still waiting on the insurance policies that's coming. We don't know what's coming. But fire service, public safety, education, those things affect us daily, and yet the turnout is so low for a lot of local elections. And these are people you can actually meet and see and talk to, see them at a restaurant or call them and go to their office. So I just wanted the psychology of, why is that common? I mean, is that an American phenomenon, or is that just something? Be interesting to get someone on after, to talk about that.
And we've also said that the work of the voter doesn't end with the election; it begins with the election. Yeah. And you can't just leave your representatives alone after they're elected. You've got to communicate with them. You've got to stay on them to not only to keep their promises, but also to be aware of the issues in your part of the community.
Well, but also they need your support, because if there's an issue that you're really strong about, but they don't have your support, I mean, it's kind of hard for them to really represent you fairly and strongly when you just kind of left them out there.
Right.
And I still wonder, but I wonder, why is that? Why is it like we vote on Super Tuesday, and then you hear people say, well, 4 more years, as if we got 3+ years left. No, it just started, but yet we're already saying we're moving on. Like now, people even talking about the election of 2018 or 2020. It's like as if we don't have everyday things that we got to get done now. Mm-hmm. And I just wonder if that attitude is not really beneficial to the political machine itself. Because if I just vote and leave, then that means really, you kind of give me a free hand to do what I want to do, and you don't hold me accountable because you just say wait till next election. When really you should be protesting, and you should be having meetings, you should be signing petitions, you should be doing and supporting, you should be doing whatever it needs to be done to support your representative. But we kind of have, a lot of us, it seems, have that mentality, just wait till the next election cycle. I mean, why? Why do we do that?
I don't know. I would say with the state and national elections especially, there is a sense that what we think doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. We have no impact. Even those of us who might email a senator about an issue, whether that email ever gets read or responded to, I mean, that's unlikely to happen. But on a local election, that's a different situation. I mean, you can fairly easily go to see our commissioners in person and speak to them.
But I think it's a mindset. If you're not doing it at the local level, you probably definitely ain't doing it at the state level. But if you're having success at a local level, you might be more empowered to think,
that might be true. I
can have more effect on a national level. Because think about people who run for election. A lot of them probably start off at local levels. They have success at the local level. Then they say, well, I think I can move up. And now you go from a local city's commission to a representative to a senator to whatever. But I just think we, from a citizen standpoint, we have a lot of apathy. Mm-hmm. And we just kind of, it is what it is and just accept it. Because when you look at the history of the Tea Party wasn't a national movement when it started, but it had tremendous impact in our country when they made a grand sweep. So, I mean, I think if people learn to mobilize locally, they can take it to a state level, to a national level. But I think we're all so much apathy that we don't have a voice.
Let me ask you, what do you think about term limits?
A person who used to be on the City Commission of Rome, I asked them that same thing. Yeah. And he told me if 8 years is good enough for the president, it should be good enough for everybody else. And I kind of agree with that. I mean, when you become on anything that long, clearly at some point, when you become so secure in your position, I think things just, I don't know, I don't think that's good. I think, I think we should have term limits. Now, we definitely need to do it in a manner where we have some type of consistency and continuity, but I don't know why nobody should. When you're a public servant and you've done 20, 40 years, you're getting paid. You're not serving, you're not volunteering. So, I mean, I just think at some point, you've had people that made their whole career off, quote unquote, being a public servant. I just think, no, 8 years,
Well, what about the argument that someone who's been in office 8 or 12 years understands how things work so much better than someone new, and understands
Isn't that the argument of
dynamics?
all incumbents?
I don't know. I'm just asking that question.
I think every incumbent wants you to believe that they have all this experience, which they do, but they didn't when they ran. I mean, I think that's part of it, though. We have to have, with continuity, you have staggered, people going off at different times. Just because you've been in office 20 years don't mean you're the best person to get things done. Just because you understand the machine doesn't mean that you are automatically good at getting things done. I just think we should have term limits. In fact, it bothers me sometimes when you see some of these people. You just think how they could be so much effective if they would step back and then help others. So that like if I'm running for office and you're my mentor, so that you can help me avoid certain mistakes, or you can have a conference with me and say, hey, Greg, you might want to look at this. You might want to consider this. Or I can even call you on my behalf to say, hey, I need some help with this. I think, that's kind of lost. 20 years, 30 years in office on anything. I mean, that's just a long time.
And I wonder if that is one of the reasons that young people don't get involved. I mean,
it can be very intimidating. You run it against, let's be honest. If I wanted to run against a John Lewis, per se, that's that's very intimidating to run against someone with that kind of stature, a legend like that. But that him being around that long doesn't mean he's automatically the best person for that position. We have to have opportunity for other people to come in. If we want our democracy truly to work, I think we have to do that. Otherwise, we get this political machine that I think we see a lot of people are disheartened by.
When is the election anyway? It's always the first Tuesday in November.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, do you know the date? That's pretty sad. But it's the first Tuesday.
It's the first Tuesday.
And it's gotten fuzzier now because you can vote like 3 weeks ahead of that date.
Yeah.
So
early voting and everything else.
Yeah. So I think early voting for this election will begin in the middle of October. So.
Well, and that's another issue altogether. Some arguments we have, I don't know. I mean, I'm not against early voting, but it's something about I like that Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's something about making a commitment to be there, to participate in that day. I think, I don't know, I just think sometimes we don't have to fight every battle. Some battles are just not worth fighting. I just think, something about a country saying on this day, we're going to elect leaders of the free world, and I like that concept.
And some issues you have to study. You might need that extra time there, and the SPLOST is maybe one of those issues because that's a complicated thing.
But by November the 2nd, or what about the second Tuesday in November, you need to know.
Yeah.
You need to know what it is.
Yeah. Well, we're coming up on our end of our segment here. We're doing a series of shows with city commission candidates. So keep watching, and we'll have additional candidates and have some questions for them. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time on Community Watch.